Now we're going to have a look at the Random LFO. So this allows us to inject some humanness to the sound. So it creates kind of random modulation that we can assign to parameters. So it has many of the same controls as the switcher LFO. See down here, we have the same options there. We also have the same options for the rate as well. But we have different options from within here. So let's route this to something. Let's try filter cutoff again. So you can already hear it's got a kind of a randomness to it. It's not as consistent as the switcher LFO, and you can actually see from this diagram here that it does have these random shapes assigned to it. Now first of all, we have this shape control here. Now this adjusts the shape and smoothness between these different values here. So when we have it to the left, it's a smoother effect. It's more stepped when it goes to the right. Now when we switch on this audio noise option here, this allows the Random LFO to work in the audio realm, so it's very, very fast, and it becomes another noise generator. Now at the end of this video, we're going to have a look at using this as a modulation source, so we're going to come back to that. Okay, so next up we have the amp jitter. Now this applies random modulation to the amplitude of the signal. So we have no amp jitter or no randomness to the amplitude added there, and then maximum. And the frequency jitter does the same to the speed or the frequency. So basically, the more these two go towards the right, the more random this Random LFO will be. So without either of those up, we've basically got a standard LFO. And the randomness can be introduced with those dials. Okay, so next up we have the threshold. Now this becomes in play when the amp jitter is up. Now with this threshold dial, when values fall below the threshold, they're forced to 0. So again, we're able to affect the amount of randomization we're introducing into the signal. Now once again, we have LFO level, we have a bipolar option, a unipolar option, and then the delay and fall and rise options we had from the switcher LFO. Okay, so as I said, we were going to come back to using these as modulation sources. Let's go to our routing window. We have these two mod sources here. So let's take mod source 1. We'll route it into filter frequency modulation. Let's take off this routing of oscillator 1. We'll turn up the filter frequency modulation, and in fact, let's take this direct modulation off. Now let's take our Random LFO, which is this one here, and route it into the modulation source. Now we've got filter frequency modulation turned up. Let's put it into audio noise. So now we've got this working to modulate the filter. Turn up the resonance a bit more. We don't have to have it working as a noise, we could have it as a slower rate. And in fact, we don't have to use just the Random LFO. Let's replace that with just a normal switcher LFO. now we've got filter frequency modulation coming from the switcher LFO. Pretty dirty. So we can make some pretty filthy noises by using the LFOs as modulation sources. Okay, so now we've had a look at our switcher LFO and in this video the random LFO. Next up we're going to have a look at our trackers. Thanks for watching.